There are two ways to import GPX files from our GPSs. One way we use with our Garmin 60s, and the other way we use with Garmin 62 or 64s. The first one I'm going to demo is using the Team Garmin 60 CSXs. In this case, the Garmin should be turned on when we try to import. So we'll come up and click on Import, and for the Garmin 60s we connect via GPS I/O. Okay, the data will be read, and then we look to see what's on there. So in this case, an older track, Team 37, had not been cleared, and the marker had not been cleared. So one thing, and there may be a lot more, one thing you can do is just uncheck all and then come back. Normally we would expect any tracks to show as being on the map, okay? Because normally our map is, the area we're searching, and if a track is not on the map, it probably means it's an older one from somewhere else. So in this case, the searcher did not name their log, their GPX file, they just left it as active log. So we're going to click active log, and we're going to import. And now we'll see. Now, what happens is, even in clearing the log, you got to be careful, because it will, the GPS will remember the last place it logged, and it'll draw that line. Now this is good, because this is something we have to do quite a bit. You might remember earlier on when we were working with lines, we showed how to cut a line. So what I'm going to do right now is come up here, and I'm going to modify this line, and I'm going to do a split here. Then I'm going to come down. I'm going to mouse over the part that I don't want till it highlights, and then I'm going to say delete. Now and that cleaned up that log right there. Now this log is still named active log. It is in my lines and polygons folder, and so I'm going to come in and change the name, and I'm just going to say, I'm going to call this Team 1, and I'm going to keep it in the operational period 1 tracks. I'm going to leave the color as red. Okay, and now up here in OP1 tracks we see Team 1's track, and if I highlight it here, I can bring up the information again. Okay, that is how you bring in from a 60 CSX. You have to use the GPS I/O, and the Garmin GPS device needs to be turned on. Okay, when using a 62 or 64 GPS, you start with the GPS turned off. Then when you plug it in, that will power up the GPS USB mode. There we go. It'll power it up, and you'll see a picture of the USB sort of trident on the front screen, and you'll hear the computer make that boink sound that says it's now attached it as a disk drive. We come over and we can see that now the GPS is being mapped as drive D, and we can open the folder to view the files. when we're doing this, it'll map the Garmin as drive D, but we also have to go to the Garmin directory. So you'll see Garmin, and then we go down to the GPX directory. Then we can come down to the current directory. This person also did not name their file, so we're going to select it as, but we check the date, we know that the time is right. We select current. We select the file and say open. Again, it shows on the map. It's calling it the current track. There was nothing else there. And we're going to import it. Okay? So now we have two different tracks, one from the CSX 60 and then one from the Garmin 64. Now this is called current track again, and again it's showing up in lines and polygons. I'm going to edit again. And I'm going to call it Team 2. And I'm also going to drop it into Operational Period 1 tracks. Okay, and then there it is. Okay, that's the difference between the 60 CSX and then the 62 and the 64. To just reiterate, on the 60 CSX, you start with it turned on, and then you import through GPS I/O. On a 62 or 64, you start with the device turned off. It will power up when you plug in the USB cord, and then you import using the Browse button, and you select the Garmin GPX directories.